All right, what's going on? You listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Ujumbe Me's message. And today's message is the Kings of Napata. The Kings of Napata. Welcome to our Echoes of Nubia mini series. This is the sacred space where Africa's buried history rise again with light, with radiance, and with force. So, in this episode, we're going to travel further south into ancient Napata, a spiritual capital forged in stone and prophecy. It is mythology, it is memory, and it is our mission, right? So get you something to write on and something to write with. This information is carved into pyramid walls and is whispered through the winds of the southern desert. So tonight we're going to talk about the Nubian pharaohs, and I'm excited about it. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Now, here are a few questions. Here are a few questions for today. What made Napata more a political capital? More than that, but a divine throne of cosmic kingship. How did the Kushite kings redefine the role of Pharaoh Insubiti as a sacred restorer instead of a mere conqueror? And why did Piye or King Pi pray before he fought? And what does this say about his mission in Egypt? And the last question, why did the Kushite kings return back home to Napata after ruling Egypt? Normally, when a conquering king conquers another location, they occupy that space. Why did they go back home? All right, let's go. So, today we're going to talk about the Royal Ark. The Royal Ark. Napata is the sacred capital. Gebel Barkal, the Lion Mountain. The Three Kings of Napata. Spiritual philosophy of rulership. And we got a few book recommendations. All right. So, I am a Amazon affiliate and I earn from qualifying purchases at no additional cost to you. But the fam has been asking for books. I got a few. And let's go. Now, this is our mini series, The Echoes of Nubia. This we will be for the remaining few weeks. We will be posting new concepts and ideas concerning Nubia. Yeah, we're still in the sacred ark concept, dealing with Ethiopia, Kemet, and Kush. We're uniting them together. But on Thursdays, we're going to highlight Kush for the month of July and possibly into August. And this is our third. This is our third pillar because we have four. This is our third pillar. Kush and Nubia, the corridor of continuity. This deals with the civilizational and spiritual bridge between Inner Africa and Kemet. We talk about the Kandeki queens and warrior kings, Napata and Meroe, solar priesthoods, the lion symbolism, the legacy of Amun, tombs, pyramids, and much more. So that's what we're gonna do, and it's a mini series that's coming out almost every Thursday. And like I said, this is our third pillar. The first one is Ethiopia, the source and sanctuary. Pillar number two is Kemet, the blueprint of sacred civilization. Pillar three, Kush and Nubia. This is where we are. Pillar four, the hidden code. And so that's our foundation for our podcast. These are our four pillars, and it's our foundation. And I think almost every major foundation or any building has a foundation, and this is ours on the King Cam Ujumbe podcast. Now, the Royal Ark. Okay. Um, well, before I get into that, I got a few things to address. Where we speak of, say, memory of empires and carved in the bones of the earth or in the center of the earth, we will get into Napata. That is the southern cradle of divine rule, where kings of Kush rose not to occupy Egypt, but to reform them and to refine them, but also to correct, because we forget that Nubia was the mother of Kemet and Ethiopia was the grandmother of Kemet. And so this is a story of kingdoms and crowns, and it's also a story of return and reactivation of sacred order when the world had forgotten how to kneel before the Neteru of the ancestors or to give some kind of respect and veneration. This is during the time where Egypt forgot the ancestors, and this is a time where Egypt forgot the Neteru. They were powerful. This is the 25th to 26th dynasty. A lot is happening. Okay, even though the kings of Nubia were in power already, have been in power for centuries, for eons, They started to at this time they started to enter the chat, started to have this conversation. Say, hey, Egypt, you need to get your life together, or you will fall. Shout out to Brother Mo. He asked a question. He asked the question: Did the let me stop this real quick. He asked the question: Did the people of the kings of Kush have some kind of premonition or some kind of feeling that Egypt was in trouble or was about to fall? I think so. Two reasons. Here's two reasons. One, they were spiritually connected. Okay, and number two, they had the Magi. So they had some sources to tell them that stuff was about to happen. All right. But speaking of Magi, we will discuss that in a part two of this next time. But yeah, the kings of the South had a feeling that if they did not get this under control, Greece and Rome would have invaded Nubia, which they tried, and Ethiopia. But they knew it was going to be a problem. They knew it was going to be a problem. All right, let's continue. All right, so from Gebel Barkal, the Lion Mountain, to the sanctuaries of Amun in Thebes, the Napatan kings restored what time tried to erase. Okay, this is the fire that forged the the African sovereignty. So let's get it. So Napata, where is this? This is the city. This was a city. It was a sacred seat of governance located in the fourth cataract of the Nile in what is now northern Sudan. You know, in Khartoum, where the white and blue Nile connect, it is north of Khartoum. So it is between the Aswan area. Shout out to the fam and the Nubian Aswan fam in the Aswan area. But it is north of Khartoum, south of say the Aswan area, right? And I have a map in a second. But yeah, it's located in the fourth cataract of the Nile in what is now northern Sudan. Napata became the political and religious capital of the Kushite kingdom by around 800 before Common Era. Remember, just etch this in your mind. Just etch this in your mind that Nubia was already existing and thriving. Kingdoms was already rising and falling in Nubia, but the spotlight fell on them once Egypt started to get in trouble. All right, so this is the 20. Shout out to Yahya Sabaka. He tries to make sure that I'm correct on my dates, but this is around the 25th dynasty. All right, 800 before Common Era, and so it's sacred geography, crowned by the presence of Gebel Bakar. That is a mountain region. Gave it a spiritual authority unmatched in the region. Now, here's a map. Yep, I have a map. All right, so as I mentioned, this is the um, this is the Blue Nile, this is the White Nile, and they connect. Okay, Khartoum, and then the Pata is right here. Okay, and then you have Kerma, then you have that Swan area, and it goes up. So Ethiopia is right here. Okay, Ethiopia is further south right here. Then you have ancient Kush right here, and then Napata is right in the middle between, say, it's not on this map, but it's between Waset or Thebes, Abu Simbel, and then it's all and it's between so it's between Waset and Khartoum. So right there, right in the middle, right where all the action is happening. And it should be rightfully so. It should be their seat of power. Okay, strategically, there's a strategic location, and not only that, it's close to the Red Sea. Okay, so where they do have ships. So if they need to ship some things or trade, they got it. All right, let's go. Now, Gebel Barkal, the holy mountain, was seen in the earthly dwelling. It was seen as the earthly dwelling of the Neteru of the god Amun. Okay, and so raising dramatically from the desert floor, its sandstone peak bears a natural spire resembling the rearing of a cobra, the uraeus or the wajet, the symbol of divine kingship and protection. Okay, and so this striking formation reinforced the mountain status as a divine throne. It's a sacred space, it's a sacred area not just for kings, but for priests and the priesthood. So this site became not just a landmark, but sacred axis, a spiritual meridian where the heaven and the earth met, where Geb and Nut were connected. You see the earth and the sky put together. Okay, the ancient temple complex beneath the ancient temple complex beneath the mountain was vast. It included sanctuaries dedicated to Amun, Mut, and Kansu. Remember, Kemetic culture is African culture, so the names like Amun and Kansu and many others will show up time after time. Okay, and so they were following the Theban triad expression, but it was unique to Nubian. They they expressed the Netru in their own way. Okay, um, they did that. So it was an exchange of knowledge, and by this time, yes, they did have more of a Kemetic twang to it, but it was still Nubian. Okay, just like this Haru right here, and so the reliefs and inscriptions depict Kushite kings receiving the breath of life, the Ankh, directly from the natural of the gods, affirming their divine right to rule. Many believe that Gebel Barkal was mapped according to astronomical principles. All right. So the orientation of the temples, as I mentioned many times before, was aligned with star risings and seasonal events. All right. And so Napata was considered the divine south where the voice of Amun thundered through sandstone and time. And at its height, Napata boasted expansive temple complexes, processional roads, pyramid fields, and hidden chambers of initiation. There's more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Kemet. All right. And so the kings were came here to declare their power and to receive it through alignment with the divine or alignment with the Neteru. Okay, and these two pillars are at the temple of Amun. There is one on the left and on the right. You enter through those two pillars, and as you look closer, they are pillars of Heteru. So Heteru was seen and venerated in the south also. I mentioned a few times that Nataplaya was was a place where the stones were aligned with the stars, and it represented Taurus. You see what I'm saying? So let's continue. The city was the pulse of Kushite identity and initiation. It held temples to Amun, Mut, and other deities, but more importantly, it preserved uh, an ancient southern priesthood lineage. Many kings were enthroned here, not merely by blood, but not through blood or just but just by inheritance, but through ritual coronation at Gebel Bakar's temple, believed to be built on ley lines of divine energy. This is a sacred space here. This is very simple. This is an altar, okay, in one of the temples in Kush. Okay, you see Haru and Jehuti tying the king together as he's supposed to be the king of that realm of the north and south in Kush. All right, so what do you think? What do you think? You think the Kushite culture had more of a connection to the Netzeru than Egypt? What do you think? What do you think? Let me know. Like and comment below. Do you think the Kushite culture had a deeper connection to the Netzeru and the ancestors than Kemet? Now, let me know. So this is the Masarawat as Sofra Temple in Sudan. Okay, this is a beautiful building. This looks like the Temple of Waset, but it is in Sudan. But notice this is the innermost part. This is the Jesaru, the Holy of Holies of the Mensarawat as Sufra Temple in Sudan. Okay, this is where initiation. This is where rites of passage and knowledge is being passed on. This is a sacred place where sacred science is being handed and given out. I actually want to visit. I actually want to see this place. See what I'm saying? This is where the coronations happen. This is where the rites of passage happen. This is where the divine energy is being transferred and transmitted because we know that the high priestesses of Amun at that time would actually name the next one. Okay. It was a so because remember the kings had their sacred rites, but the priests and the priestess had their own too. So sacred rituals, including sky watching, offerings, time with star rising, and king making, performed their rites under the gaze of the lion-headed mountain and the Neteru and the ancestors. These rites were meant to bind the king to Ma'at, to divine order, to justice, not just for governance, but for cosmic stability. So, and so this if you like, if you're enjoying the content, like and subscribe for more because we're about to, as time go on in a few weeks, I think July 21st, we'll get with the mysteries of African cosmology, star codes, now myths, and creation cycles. And we got part two. We got to deal with we're dealing with the kings of Napata today, but in another week or so we'll deal with the Magi. So if you're enjoying this content, like and subscribe for more. Let's go. So dealing with the royal arc. Um, why start in the Potter is because Kemet, when Kemet fractured, it was the South that stood up. Okay, the Kushite kings didn't imitate Egypt; they reactivated and reformed Egypt. Okay, they understood kingship as a an alignment to the ancestors of Neteru from a cosmic standpoint. It wasn't for political ambition. It wasn't for a flex. Every coronation, every campaign, every temple project was aligned with Ma'at, with Amun or Apetamak, all right? Or, and most importantly, with the ancestors, all right? So the sacred arc begins with the three kings, and we're about to get into it. The three kings, the kings of Napata, okay? So we have King Alara, King Kashta, and King Piye, okay? So let's go. King Alara. King Alara, he was the founder of the Napatan royal dynasty in the 25th dynasty of the 8th century before Common Era. He reignited the cult of Amun at Gebel Barkal, identifying the mountain not just as a landmark, but as a throne of divine energy. The record begins with him. Okay. The first name King of Napata, his memory was preserved not because of conquest, but because of reformation and knowledge. Alara was a restorer. Okay. Uh, the mountains, the mountain's peak resembled, like I said, the Wajent, the royal cobra, and it became the center of Kushite kingship. Alara aligned his rule with the stars and ancestral spirits, the Neteru, and sacred calendar. He was initiated into kingship. He wasn't born into this. He was initiated into this. Okay. He couldn't just claim it, right? And so uh, the ancestors had to be okay with this. All right. The calendar, the timing, he couldn't just claim it, right? And so that distinction shaped the Napatan code. And so for the record, his royal wife was Shaka. Kashaka. And shout out to Yaya Shabaka. He asked a question about the Kasha as far as the title, the suffix of each person's name. What do you got? You know, he's implying and I kind of agree with him that by having that name Kasha or Kashaka or something like that, or like Allah Ra, they're putting the name of God behind their name. Okay. To say that hey, I believe and I agree. Just like Sebek, Neferu, and Amin Hotep, it's the same thing. Ka Shaka. Okay, his wife was Ka Shaka. Children, he had children, Queen Abar and Tabiri. Okay, Abar and Tabiri. Now I got a question. Got a question. Now, who was Queen Abar? Now, for some reason, my eyes laid on her name first, But and so therefore my curiosity, I was trying to figure out who was this person. So I answer that question in a few minutes. All right, who was Queen Abar? And I answer that question in a few minutes. Let's go. So he aligned with the ancestors, and he was initiated into rulership, into kingship. And according to tradition, Alara emphasized the return to spiritual purity and royal discipline. His name became a signal of divine right, and later kings would trace their legitimacy back to him. Okay, he established the House of the South, a dynamic title that rooted Kushite power in ancestral sacredness. All right, that's King Alara. Here we go. King Kashta the diplomat. Kashta the diplomat. There it is. There's a Kashta the diplomat. So Kashta, his nomen, okay, is Kashta. Kashta. All right. And when you break it down, because remember, a lot of African languages did not have vowels. So Kashta, right? And so uh, he didn't take Egypt by storm. He didn't go in there. He moved like the spirit through the temples, through the priesthood, through the bloodline. So the Kemetic rulership wasn't through power, but it was through knowledge and through the spirit. Okay. And so he made his daughter. He made his daughter Amendi Ritus, the first God's wife of Amun, as far as the high priestess of Amun. And we discussed that in the role of women in the Nile Valley on my previous podcast. Check it out when you get a chance. So he placed her in a divine role that governed Upper Egypt spiritually. Upper Egypt, by the way, is in Thebes. That's in Waset. He didn't have any army. No army crossed the border, but Kashta claimed the crown with sacred strategy. He was a smart man. He didn't come in there like the Greeks and the Romans coming in there by force. He came in there with knowledge and information, right? So this FYI, remember Priestess Amadiratus. Here it is. Priestess Amadiratus was a Nubian royal priestess from the 25th dynasty, the daughter of King Kashta of Kush, and sister of Piye. She was appointed to Thebes to serve as a religious anchor during the Kushite reunification of Egypt. She was adopted by the preceding god's wife or the preceding high priest, Shep-Nupet the first, a common strategy used to ensure spiritual lineage and political stability. Get this. This was very important, okay, to have somebody from the previous generation to co-sign. And the thing is, she couldn't be just named high priestess just because her father was the Insubiti or the king. She had to be initiated through this. She had to be trained in this. See what I'm saying? All right, let's continue. Now, his approach reactivated an ancient alliance between Nubia and Upper Egypt, reuniting the two halves of a sacred geography. With Amadiritus as a spiritual regent, Kashta ensured that Thebes, Egypt's religious heart, now pulsed the rhythm of Napata. So this was the brilliance of Napata, um, understanding that the road to rule the land, you must rule the heart and the soul. Okay, so Kashta, the diplomat, somewhere he's laid to rest in the land of the ancestors in the pyramids of El Karu. Okay, he's laid to rest in the pyramid lands of El Karu, Elkurru, El Karu. All right, that's Kashta the diplomat. Now, King Piye the prophet. Yeah, now he's different. All right, Piye, also known as Pankai or Piankhi. Okay, throne names. The throne names is Ursamari, okay, or Ursamara, okay, Ursamara, or Snenfara. So you hear those suffixes. You hear Ra in their name, or you hear some attribute of God in their name, right? He ruled 744 to 714 before Common Era. Pius saw Egypt in disarray. This was during the time, y'all. This was during the time where Egypt was crumbling inside and out, and the Europeans was ready. Okay, so Pius saw Egypt in disarray with rival kings and broken temples, but he didn't just march north. He didn't go up there. He bathed. He fasted. This was a spiritual thing. This was a spiritual movement. Most of our rulers in Kemet or in Africa, period, they connected the physical with the spiritual. Okay. They knew that if they had to go to battle, they knew it wasn't just a battle just to be battling, it was a spiritual thing. He was trying to basically, in so many words, save the soul of Kemet, right? Let's go. And he prayed. He prayed to the Neteru, to the ancestors, to get their blessing. How this is going to pan out. Okay, how this is going to go. So then what did he do? He mobilized an army infused with ritual power, warriors, priests, scribes, and the Magi. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speaking of that, the Magi is loading. Like and subscribe for more. We got this the part two of this little this this discussion, this episode. We got part two. We're going to deal with the Magi. Part one is right now, the Kings of Napata. Next is the Magi loading. Like and subscribe for more. Let's go. So when Pi entered Egypt, he didn't come as a foreigner. Okay, he came, it was as a rightful heir. So he had this thing called a victory stele or stele, still preserved in stone. Okay, it doesn't boast of military dominance. It proclaims spiritual correction. Normally you see like King Narmer with the little war hammer and giving folk that work. No, you see him seated, giving out information. See him seated, sharing the meta nature. Seated, reminding them of the ancestors. This wasn't military dominance. This was spiritual correction. Egypt was out of order, right? So he writes in his writing, he said, I am the one who knows the gods of love. I do not act without their guidance. Okay. So he defeated rival kings but spared their lives. And so he rebuilt temples. He reestablished Ma'at. Then he returned to Napata because the southern throne is not these, but not these. It was his spiritual command center. Okay. And so Pai also restored the temple of Amun, originally built by the Insubiti Moses III. So he rebuilt and reestablished the temple that was built by an ancestor that was alive about 1200 to 1500 years before that. So when I say they honored the ancestors, that's what they did. He didn't build on top of that. He restored it. That means a lot. And that's the reason why these people's names are still being uttered today. That's the reason why their names are still being spoken today, is because they respected each other and the ancestors. And when he defeated the kings, he spared them. Now, and other times they may not have been as lucky. See what I'm saying? But this was not that kind of conquest. And he felt I just had a feeling he felt that he needed everybody involved to reset Kemet. Okay. The Temple of Amun. Okay, that's what it looks like now. Okay, that's what it looks like. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this. Okay, this is what it looks like now. Okay, and of course that's the profile view of that. That's what it looks like, the area. And this is shout out to let me see, I think Wikipedia gave me this one. So, but yeah, this is the digital design of what it looked like. Very similar to many other temples in Kemet, where they have the base and then they have the Jesu at the very end. And so he was a prophet. Okay, he was a prophet king. He called his forces, the people of the South. This was not for ego. This was for restoration. He spared lives. He didn't stay in the palaces. He just went back home because his goal was to restore Egypt. Now, who was Queen Abar? I told you I was going to come back and discuss that. Who was Queen Abar or Abar? All right. She was a Nubian queen, the niece of King Alara, and married to King Piye, right? She has several titles. She has several titles. King's mother, Mawut Insut, King Sister Snit Nisut, Mistress of the Foreign Lands, Nebet Kasuut, Lady of Upper and Lower Egypt, Hawut Samawut Maru, and Great Lady of the Two Lands, Redet Nebetawi, Noble Lady, okay, Irit Pit, and Greater Praises, Wert Hazwut, and Sweet of Love, Banat Merut, right? She had a lot of titles. She had a lot of titles, but the most important title she had, she was the mother of King Taharka. Yep. That was the reason why my eyes kind of landed on her name. She was the mother of King Taharka. Man, to say that, Taharka, that he was that guy, right? But here's the thing, she was unfortunate, she was separated from him when he was young, but they reunited before his coronation. This is very similar to the separation and reunification of Aset and Heru. And this is the image of the Queen Mother, okay, Queen Abar and King Taharka right at his coronation. She's right behind him, and he's getting his respect and just due. All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, so now the kings of Napata were rulers, they were spiritual architects. They built with memory, they built with strategy, they reigned with restraint, and they acted not just in power but in prophecy. Okay, from the sandstone cliffs of Gebel Barkal to the trembling altars of Waset, these pharaohs, these Nubian pharaohs, remind us that true sovereignty is alignment and not total domination. All right, the silence of Napata still speaks. I believe so. Okay, so yeah, so get ready. We're gonna deal with part two, the Magi, the shield wall, in another week or so. This was the Echoes of Nubia. All right, this is our mini series. This is the King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Drew Baby's message. And yeah, we're gonna deal with the Magi in another week. And so get ready for that. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about that. And now, we're going to deal with also get ready for the mysteries of African cosmology, star codes, Nile myths, and creation cycles. This is going to be great. That's going to come out. We're going to do a live discussion on July 21st with that. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right. And here's some books Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire, African Dominion. That's a great book. Get that. Of course, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Book of Coming Forth by Day, I'm sorry, Ethiopia and the Origin of Civilization by John G. Jackson. Check that out. This is our book. When we are dealing with Ethiopia, this is our book, Ethiopians: A History, by Richard Pankhurst. And the links, all these links, all the affiliate links are in the description. Check them out. Get if you got one for yourself, get one for your friend. All right, the Crusades, Jihad, and Jihad in East Africa, religious conflicts and their impact by yours truly. Yeah, so check that out. So we just got through talking about the Kings of Napata, the Royal Ark, Napata as a sacred capital, Gebel Barkal, the Lion Mountain, the Three Kings of Napata, spiritual philosophy of rulership, and a few book recommendations. Yeah, you just got to listen to the Kings of Napata. You listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Jube Me's message, and I will talk to you later.